Warm greetings from the High 10. It is the Vault XL 3-part live. We'll be going live after this and also uploading shorts to the YouTube queue pertaining to breaking news. Thank you so much for joining me. First story is about an Alcoa man who has been indicted on 21 charges, including first-degree murder of Blount County deputy. Prosecutors weigh death penalty. Thank you for joining me. Kenneth Dehart Jr., the man accused of gunning down Blount County Sheriff's Deputy Greg McCowan, faced the severity of the law in courtroom arraignment on Friday. The grand jury's indictment came down heavy on Dehart with 21 counts, including first-degree murder. The indictment was announced earlier this week as per reports from WATE News. The prosecution is now on the clock with an October 11th deadline looming to decide if they will seek the death penalty. So October 11th is the deadline for the prosecution to decide if they will seek the death penalty against Mr. Dehart. An Alcoa resident, Dehart, faces charges that spring from a fatal confrontation in February during a traffic stop, as mentioned by WBIR. The charges against Dehart include a premeditated first-degree murder charge and an attempted first-degree murder charge for the shooting that claimed McCowan's life and wounded another deputy. In the wake of the grand jury indictment, Dehart's initial court appearance saw his attorney waive the full reading of charges, which detailed the considerable array of legal battles lying ahead for Dehart. A series of deadlines have been set for proceedings in Dehart's case, including discovery by August 24th, motion filings by September 13th, and a deadline for enhancement of punishment considerations by the state, October 11th. As per the coverage from WVLT, further deadlines for change of venue requests and additional motions fall in November and December, respectively. Dehart is set to appear in court on December 13th to have his trial date set. While Dehart is held without bond, the community remains in mourning over the death of Deputy McCowan. The Blount County Sheriff's Office reported that the fateful encounter occurred when deputies confronted Dehart for erratic driving. What began as a routine traffic stop ended in tragedy after Dehart allegedly opened fire, striking both Deputy McCowan and Deputy Shelby Eggers, the former, fatally. The impact of this crime echoes through the legal timelines and into the hearts of a grieving law enforcement, family, and local community. What can I say? I don't agree with what he did, okay? Let me make that clear. Because why not take the charge if indeed they found marijuana, weed, pills, drugs, whatever? Hell, a whole body. You understand what I'm saying? This is what I don't understand about him. Why would you shoot at these people? The woman was very respectful, the lady deputy. She was very respectful. Please feel free to go watch the content in the YouTube queue for verification of what I'm speaking of. You could have easily just got out of the car as she asked you to and let her search the vehicle. Mr. Dehart asked for a K9. They said they did not have one, so he refused to get out of the car. So they're going back and forth, he and this woman. She calls for backup, and then all hell broke loose. The other guy shows up. He's a bit boisterous, cursing, get the F out, blah, blah, blah. And Mr. Dehart pulls out a weapon. He shoots him point blank. And then he also, as pulling off, he shoots the deputy, female deputy, the one he had the initial encounter with. Now, he says he was talking on the phone and doing something, when he originally got pulled over. He could be free right now. That's what I don't understand about this case. I don't understand his mindset, but that's the whole point of true crime. You don't know people. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what's on their mind. You don't know if he had interactions with the law before. You don't know if he's been pulled over several times before. You don't know if he's been, mistaken identity, whatever. But the point is, the law says comply. And if you don't want to end up a true crime story on either end, it is best you comply. Don't run. Don't start digging for stuff in the car. Don't start reaching for stuff. If they ask you to step out of the car, step out of the car. They ask you to get on the ground, get on the ground. They ask you to put your hands behind your head, put your hands behind your back. Just do it. Just do it. Now, he ended up getting something on his cheek, some type of mark. They said this happened when he fell out of the car or whatever, them trying to get him up. And you could see that they built a little wall around him. You could also hear a deputy say, put a wall around him, which didn't make any sense. There's nobody there. You're on the side of Alcoa Highway. There's nobody going and coming because you got the roads blocked because you all were meeting to get him transferred from Knoxville to Blount County. So Knoxville police officer and another SWAT team member escorted him to the Blount County line right off of Alcoa Highway up from UT Medical Center. So there was no need of putting a wall around him. Where was he going? He's a big guy, handcuffed, lying on the ground. Why you all pulled him out the car the way you did, I didn't understand that. Why not pull him out feet first? Knowing he's a tall person, heavier person, would that have been easier to get him out of a small, compact situation? See, none of that made sense. None of it made sense. So next thing we know, when he's up walking after the wall is broke up from these deputies being surrounded around him, he's got a mark on his face. You hear him, making noises and sounds before he was able to get up and get out of this wall. And then once they saw the car pull up, the deputies, the Blount County Sheriff's car, then it's like, oh, everybody's looking like they're so amazed that the car showed up, because then they knew to get his ass up off that damn ground. Not thinking, somebody's wearing a body cam. So when you watch the footage, you're going to get different angles of body cameras per the cars coming in, cars bringing him, the car bringing him. You're going to see all of this body cam from different angles, different cars. You're entitled to form your own opinion. If they roughed him up while he was on the ground, pulled him out on purpose, threw him down, you're entitled to your opinion. Point being, Mr. Dehart, you should have never fired the shot. Fired the other shot. You killed someone, and the law says you attempted to kill the other female deputy. And that shows there's something really wrong with you. Because you can see the anger, because he cursed when he shot the female deputy. Second. First deputy was the male who came up second. Shoots him point blank. And then he shoots the lady who he had the initial conflict with. And he's cursing F you, blah, blah, blah. And he's in his grandmother's SUV. You will hear all that in the exchange in the video, the audio of the initial confrontation with Mr. Dehart Jr. It's baffling, but it's his choice and he made that choice. Next information is pertaining to, once again, the great state of Tennessee, because this content I just brought you about Mr. Dehart took place in Blount County, Tennessee, just a little ways up the highway. I believe he was pulled over in Maryville, Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. And Maryville sits next door to Alcoa, Tennessee, for those of you who are not familiar. And Alcoa sits 30 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. Maryville's about 40 minutes from Knoxville, Oak Ridge area, if you're not familiar. Thank you all so much for joining me. Content number 2. This is pertaining to a new Tennessee bill. A lot of Tennessee news. Matter of fact, everything in my live stream is pertaining to Tennessee. How about that? We're a hot jumping place right now. WATE News is the source of this information, uploaded 21 hours ago.
House Republicans are pushing to allow the death penalty for child rapists. That's despite a Supreme Court ruling nearly half a century ago, ruling that it is unconstitutional.
State Capitol reporter Chris O'Brien explains why even some Republicans are pushing back.
There have been nearly 38 convicted child rapists per year in Tennessee on average the last 10 years. And if it were up to House Majority Leader William Lamberth, all of them would potentially be up for the death penalty.
It's a good bill. I don't say that just because it's my name at the top of it.
This year, he sponsored a bill to allow the death penalty in cases of child rape. Recently, it passed the key Senate Judiciary Committee by a single vote.
The real question everybody should be asking is the death penalty truly a deterrent?
The Supreme Court already ruled against the type of law Lamberth is gunning for. But the House Majority Leader is hoping they reconsider following a similar law that lawmakers passed in Florida.
There's a U.S. Supreme Court decision that found that those laws were unconstitutional in large part because there weren't very many states that still had them on the books. folks.
Back in 1977, the court decided it was considered cruel and unusual punishment, which is a violation of the Eighth Amendment. Democrats also pushed the death penalty has been a source of racial inequality since its inception.
We know still today that if you're poor or a person of color, then you're not going to get equal justice. We know there's no equity in the way that the law is applied.
Some Republicans have privately expressed frustration that the bill is a bit of a poison pill. Either they're forced to vote what some see as soft on child rapists, or they're forced to vote for a bill the Supreme Court sees as unconstitutional. In Nashville, Chris O'Brien.
In the House, the bill has been placed behind the budget.
So what that means is once they lock down exactly what the budget looks like, they'll discuss the bill further.
All right, everybody. WAT News is the source. How do you all feel about child rapists receiving the death penalty? And that would be for any state. How do you feel about child rapists receiving the death penalty? Now, many people are against the death penalty just because it's taking up a life. Many people are against the death penalty because what if you've got the wrong person? What if you have the wrong person arrested, gone to trial, found guilty? Now he or she is facing the death penalty. And I totally understand that. That's a reasonable question, a reasonable situation. What if you have the wrong person? What if the wrong person has been arrested for a heinous crime and he or she is indicted, goes to trial, found guilty, but they are innocent, and now, worst case scenario, besides being incarcerated, you have been given the death penalty. How do you all feel about this situation? Should there be a death penalty for child rapists? I say yes. I say yes. And this is how I'm going to weigh this topic. Let's say there was a mistake made. I might be putting my foot in my mouth on this, but I feel like if you touch a child, period, your ass should get life. Okay? Because I'm going to go half and half on this. You touch a child. The child says I was touched wherever. They got proof. How they would get proof, that's a whole different story, because that's still he said, she said. But if you penetrate a child, they can show DNA that you have penetrated a child. You have, let's say, distorted organs, because that's exactly what's going to happen, depending on the perpetrator. Okay, depending on the perpetrator, how they're built, you know what I mean. I don't have to go there. Yes, your ass deserves the death penalty. If there is no disputing the evidence, DNA on the kid, and we already know what DNA is. Your personal DNA from a man is on a child, baby, whomever. I don't care if they're underage. I don't care. Hell yeah. Death penalty, yes. Now, groping and touching, I still would prefer your ass to be put down, but I would say life in prison. And as I said, I might be putting my foot in the mouth on the evidentiary material against the perpetrator. But definitely if you have put your private parts upon the child, there is factual DNA in places it has no business on the child. Hell yeah. You need to go down and lay down permanently. And that's my opinion. I think I put a poll up a few months ago pertaining to this subject matter about the death penalty for child assaulters, child rapists. I may have to put it up again since now we have this bill that was introduced a few months ago, and now they're going to be deciding what they want to do with the bill. I will put up another poll after this live stream pertaining to this information. Okay. So far we've talked about Mr. Kenneth Dehart, Kenneth Wayne Dehart Jr., African-American male who killed a Blount County deputy and shot another deputy, attempted murder, facing 21 charges. Later on, they will decide the state if they want to exact the death penalty against Mr. Dehart. As I said before, he made a great grave mistake by killing this deputy and shooting this woman. Now, I don't know what the hell was going on with him mentally. It doesn't really matter. He should not have done it. Tennessee bill, death penalty for child rapists. I'll bring you an update to that story. And story number 3, once again, the hottest topic on YouTube pertaining to these crazy ass Proudfoots and Mr. Seth Rogers. This is a debacle. But this is what happens when, once again, you don't know people. All these stories I'm bringing you in this live stream are pertaining to Tennessee. East Tennessee, Tennessee, and Sebastian Rogers, West Tennessee. All Tennessee. Lord have mercy, the volunteer state is getting a kick in the butt right now. It is despicable when things play out on YouTube and social media pertaining to people. This is why they tell you to be careful what you post, what you talk about, what you rant about, what you accuse people of, because it can go viral. It can get way out of control. And that is what you're seeing here. I don't know why the Proudfoots continuously go over to this smiley lady's house and talk to her. Yeah, I say house because this is my playhouse. Okay. Ta-da. My play kitchen at the moment. Why do you keep going over there talking to this lady? I don't understand. Please explain to me. And Katie, you said you do not want to go back and forth with Seth Rogers about Sebastian allegations he's bringing forward. But yet, your husband is talking to this YouTuber. You don't call that back and forth? You knew you were going to respond to the allegations, and you did. You responded to what he has told YouTubers, now Court TV, so on and so forth. You don't call that back and forth? And this bullshit over here at Smiley's house is what it is. I don't know why she's entertaining you all, but some of you like this type of bullshit. Yeah, I'm saying it. Why are you entertaining this type of nonsense, ma'am? I'm just curious, okay? No harm, but I'm just asking. Why are you entertaining it? Because at some point in what you're hearing from the Proudfoots should send red flags to you. So I, and a lot of people would be wondering, those of us who are woke any damn way, why are you entertaining people who have lied on different platforms about February 25th into February 26th? Once you see that they told a version over here and a version over here and something different, and then you're asking all these questions about this and that, and they're talking about security doors and all that. You all didn't have security, remember? You kind of acted like you didn't know if you had security when Nancy Grace talked to you. And yet you worked for a security company, but you're not now, Katie Proudfoot. So this is where some of us are confused. Now, we do have a back and forth because Seth obviously ain't throwing in the damn towel. And he's finally speaking his mind about what happened to his child allegedly in the care of Katie Proudfoot and Chris Proudfoot, allegations of sexual abuse of a child. And I'd like to apologize to the audience. When I went live last night, I got a little hyped and I misspoke when she talks about he was not 13. I was thinking of Sebastian when she was talking about the perpetrator. So let me correct that discrepancy in this live. When she said he was not 13. So Queen kind of blanked out and was thinking of Sebastian. But she was referring to the perpetrator, assumingly. So let me address that before I play this Court TV content. What difference does it make how old the perpetrator was, Katie? See, sometimes we rush to judgment when we listen to stuff and we mishear things. So now after hearing that and I realized, oh, I misunderstood. I jumped the gun. She's talking about the perpetrator wasn't 13. Well, what difference does it make how old the perpetrator was? So what? He was what? He was 8? You didn't tell us in your Dear Jane letter that I believe you've taken down from Facebook. So how old was the perpetrator, Katie? You glazed right over that because that's what guilty people do, in my opinion. They glaze over shit. I know all about people like you. Trust me. I've dealt with a narcissist for almost 3 years. I know the signs. They're always whining about shit. They're always complaining about shit. And then when you ask them something, and let's be truthful, they're spinning the story. You don't even have to be asking them anything. They're spinning the story, and as soon as you notice something isn't right, you'll say, well, what do you mean by this? And what happened over here? Oh, forget about it. That's okay. That's what you're doing here. You're glazing over shit. And you keep running the YouTubers talking. What else is there to say about February 25th? I don't get it. What the fuck else do you got to fucking say? How many times can you keep going over to that woman's channel? I'm starting to wonder about her. Yeah, I'm getting jiggy now. Because I've already been hyped any fucking way. Excuse my manners. What can you keep asking these people? The fuck is wrong with you people? Well, does the door sit to the east or to the north or to the south? How many doors do you have in the house? Well, I really want to talk about this because of security. You don't give a fuck about security. You're not even looking for the kid. When the last time you posted something to his Facebook page, to your Facebook page about Sebastian? Chris. Excuse my manners. Excuse my manners for those who don't follow the queen and don't know how I rock, okay? The hell are you all talking about? I'm just trying to understand the point of going to the YouTubers. You're not talking back to Nancy Grace. You're not talking to Good Morning America. You ain't talking to Gayle King. You ain't talking to ABC News. You keep going to YouTubers because you know you can spin these fucking narratives with YouTubers. Because let's be truthful, YouTube is a whole different avenue versus mainstream news. And although mainstream news, they do have networks on YouTube, but it's still different. They're the head knockers. We are below the head knockers, okay? And there are some people on YouTube who have a massive following. Kudos to them. I'm trying to understand how the fuck you keep going over there to that white woman's channel talking so much. And I'm trying to understand her. How many questions can you keep asking? Then you talk, and you got a 3-hour live stream for what? Because this is basically another rebuttal to GoFundMe's and this and that. Well, now we hear he ain't got a job. He ain't working. 9 times out of 10, you take out for a medical leave. That's probably what, 2 weeks, a month, depending on the company you work for. This isn't considered a medical leave, a child missing. So everything depends on your job and how they empathize with your situation. Frankly, what do you all give a fuck about that? That's his child. Whether I believe what Seth has told us or not, he's still the father. And whatever the fuck he got going on with his job, Katie, Chris, what do you give a fuck? That's what's so baffling about you people. But then it isn't baffling, because if you study true crime and you've listened to true crime long enough, you know the signs of narcissists, liars, sociopaths, and psychopaths. They always have to narrate shit. They always got an excuse for shit. They always want to talk bad about what another motherfucker doing because they ain't doing it. That's what this is about. You know you're not out here looking for the boy. You know you done ran off in the middle of the night with your husband and you ain't doing shit. You done left your job. Well, Chris has left his job to look for his son. So now you all over on Smiley World, Smiley Face, worrying about what the fuck he got going on. Why? What do you care? You're not looking for him? Because that's the point of the story. That's why we're here. Because nobody cared enough for Sebastian Rogers. Nobody cared. So here we are. Now Dirty Laundry's being aired. And now the people who won't even look for him got a problem with allegations of abuse. So Chris Proudfoot, I know you highly pissed off at Nina Gomez, and you now pissed off at Seth Rogers, the same motherfucker you wouldn't even talk to. So how many weeks now y'all have been without talking to each other? 3 weeks, 4 weeks? I'm losing count. Getting gray, getting thinner, getting old. I'm your worst nightmare. Don't worry about Seth Rogers. Don't worry about Seth Rogers, baby. Queen is the one you ought to be worried about, because I live right here. I live right here. And I smell bullshit. So I'm not your average YouTuber. Because people always say, well, why won't you talk to these people? Why won't you? You think the fuck I'm going to sit here and talk to a motherfucking killer? I haven't had one person on my channel to speak on my platform that I even think murdered another human being or a child. Did you hear what I said? I have not. And I don't think that I will. If I decide to change my mind, we will see. But that couple, to me, they're no different than the whales. They are evenly yoked. And when I smell bullshit, hell no, I'm not talking to you. About what? I got drama right here. The fuck I need to go to West Tennessee to get in some drama. And I wouldn't put it up on my platform. For what? You entitled to your opinion, what you think of the Proudfoots, Seth Rogers, Nina Gomez, but there's some smoke in the city. And right now, I don't know what to think about none of you. And I'm just going to keep it real. Because I'm just not liking what I'm seeing. And I would hate to be rooting for somebody who's also abused their son, Mr. Seth. You seem like you care about your son. You're doing everything you can. But everything's about interpretation. And this is the one thing I tell people. You need to be very careful about who you root for because you may end up blindsided. And we have seen this because you don't know these people. You don't know them. You don't know nothing about them. You're getting bits and tidbits of stuff about all these people. And I don't know who did what to whom. I don't know who beat whom up. I don't know who stole from whom. I don't know who set somebody up. I don't know if she lied about him abusing the boy or abusing her. I don't know if he really got barred from the base. And that's another thing. If he got barred from the Army base, how's he getting a job as a correction officer? Now, naturally, you can commit crimes in other states, and they don't do a background check in other states. Usually, like here in Tennessee, they're not getting ready to check Illinois, Chicago, Michigan. They'd have to do an all-around state-to-state database. Let's say I'm applying for a job. They're just going to check the places that I live. So if I say I live in Knoxville or I live in the surrounding counties, then they will pull what's up in Tennessee. Not Arizona, not New Mexico, not California. This is why people slip through the cracks in DHS fraud, like food stamps, welfare checks, apartment rentals, applying for jobs. Because people don't use an entire United States database to run background checks. This is how bullshit slips through the cracks. So, Mr. Rogers, did you get barred from the military base? If so, where, the date, and what were the circumstances? Or is Katie making up shit? I'm tired of talking about you all. Because now it's getting ridiculous. And everybody's now taking sides on who they think is telling the truth. This shit is outrageous. I don't know what to think about none of this bullshit. One second, everybody. Seth has spoken to Court TV. His mom is responsible for this. Sebastian Rogers' dad talks to Court TV. Thank you for joining me.
Fifth, his mother was the last person to see him and says that he left the house without any shoes on and just a flashlight. So where is he? Searchers continue looking for Sebastian, and this morning we have a very special guest joining us on the program, Sebastian Rogers' biological father, Seth Rogers. Seth, good morning to you, and might I just start by both saying thank you and just that my heart and the hearts of all of our wonderful viewers really go out to you. The agony that you're going through, I can't even imagine. I've seen you do some interviews, and I've been so amazed at how resilient you are. And you've talked about how nothing is going to make you give up hope. Tell us, please, where's that drive coming from?
My son. He's my life. He's my heart. He's not here, and I'm not complete unless I have him. So it's the drive to be whole again.
You know, I applaud you for holding out hope, being so resilient, being positive, and who knows what can happen with this investigation. And any day could be the day Sebastian comes home. From your perspective, Seth, how satisfied are you with the investigation being done by TBI?
My son's not here. They have no evidence. They haven't. Sumner County is the one that's like doing it. TBI is assisting. I've asked TBI to take it over. They haven't yet. There's just things that I don't think have been done.
What would you like to be done, Seth, that hasn't been?
I have a list of stuff, but I don't know if they've done it or not. I mean, there's been questions that...
Sorry about that. Jumped off. I don't know why it jumped off. Hold on.
I'm not complete unless I have him. So it's the drive to be whole again.
You know, I applaud you for holding out hope, being so resilient, being positive, and who knows what can happen with this investigation. And any day could be the day Sebastian comes home. From your perspective, Seth, how satisfied are you with the investigation being done by TBI?
My son's not here. They have no evidence. They haven't. Sumner County is the one that's like doing it. TBI is assisting. I've asked TBI to take it over. They haven't yet. There's just things that I don't think have been done.
As I have said during a live stream pertaining to one of my high school college mates who said this about Queen. You're a critical thinker. And I know this about myself. OCD, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think like a lot of people. It's probably the reason why I'm still alive, 53. Because I don't think like other people. I never have, never will. Seth, say what you want to say. You are on a major mainstream platform. Just say it. Say what nobody has done. Say what you think people should be doing. Say what they have done. The sheriff, TBI. If you want the TBI to be involved, then go on the platform and say, I want TBI to work on this case. I want them to be the lead. I want my son. This is why this case is fucked up. Because nobody is telling the truth. You see, you can't expect answers when you can't be truthful. And that goes for everybody in this story. The Proudfoots, Seth, whomever. You can't get to the truth if you aren't truthful. You have to take the blinders off. You have to put your pride to the side. You have to not worry about what other people are going to think. You have to be truthful. You have to tell your truth. You have to tell your part. If you failed that boy in some way, then you tell it. If you know what they've done to that kid, then you tell it. If you know that Pookie Ray Ray did something, then you tell it. You tell it day fucking one. That way there is no misunderstandings 5 weeks in, 6 weeks in. Now we're hearing all this he said, she said, gritty, grimy bullshit. The shit that plays out on Facebook, YouTube. He said and she said and I did this and I didn't do this and she did this. This is becoming Summer Wells all over again. Now we're going to start hearing about the neighbors. The people who you ain't heard a damn thing from. That's next. Because Queen's been asking, where is everybody? Where are the family members? Y'all ain't talking. Where are the high school friends? Where are the college friends? Uh-oh, where's the military? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Shut up, Queen. Where's the military? Who gonna talk from the military to tell us what the fuck really went on out there in California? Uh-oh. Because you know they got a code of ethics. They don't like to talk about nothing. Because the military will cover up shit in a heartbeat. So who from the military is getting ready to speak on these people? Because I think it's time we go in the belly of the beast and get down to who Seth Rogers is, Katie Proudfoot, Pussyfoot, and Mr. Pussyfoot Chris. I think it's time for somebody to come out in their Sunday slippers and robe and start telling us what these people were like when they were in the military. Because, see, that's the one thing you're not hearing. You're hearing everything else but the 411. Who are these people and who were they when they first met? Who were they when they started rearing children? What hell was really going on out there in California? Because, see, right now we're jumping over shit. You know, it's hopscotch. I'm too big for hopscotch, if you can see. Hey, I'm a little too big for hopscotch. Queen ain't about to be writing shit in the boxes and jumping down. Get to the point. Somebody out there who is trustworthy and you feel like you know the truth about these two, you can call me directly. You are welcome to come up on this network and give me the 411 on what we are talking about, because now it's all over the place and I don't know what I'm listening to. Because whenever you get a mother that decides she wants to start arguing over the age of a sex offender, we got problems. Now it's, he wasn't 13. Who cares? Let's get back to this court TV because my head is spinning. I'm too old for this nonsense.
I don't think you've been done.
What would you like to be done, Seth, that hasn't been?
I have a list of stuff, but I don't know if they've done it or not. I mean, there's been questions that have been asked, and things that have been answered. It's really hard to have evidence if certain protocols aren't being followed. You have to start back over from day one.
You know, going back to day one, so Sebastian goes to sleep the evening of February 25th. It's on the morning of the 26th that your ex-wife finds that he's not in his bedroom. She is the only one said to be home. And Sebastian could have vanished sometime in the hours from when she last saw him go to sleep, and from the time she opened the door. There's a window there overnight. Your best guess, Seth, based on how well you know your son, what do you think happened to Sebastian?
He's not the type to put on. He's not the type to leave the house without putting on socks and shoes. As for running away or leaving, He didn't take his backpack. He didn't take his switch.
The one thing I've learned is to never say what a person won't do, because we all have done it as adults. We'll swore up and down what we won't do, right? I'd never do that. I'd never live there. I'd never go over there. I'd never fool with that type of person. I'd never date a black woman. I'd never date a white man. I'd never date a Chinese person. But you did. I'd never go in water, can't swim, but you did. See what I'm saying? Now speak for a child. You can't. My child would never take candy from a stranger. My child would never go with a stranger. But your child did go with a stranger, and she's now dead. She's found in a dumpster down in Alabama. Because your child did exactly what you said she would not do. So we don't really know what happened down there in West Tennessee, but it don't look good. I have my own theory. I think these Proudfoots did something to the boy. Who did what? Don't know. But I don't think he wandered off, but it's not to say that he didn't. But what I would not do is say my child wouldn't do something. Because allegedly now I'm hearing rumors that the boy did wander off. I thought I read that somewhere. Don't know if that's true. Don't know if it's coming from the Proudfoots or somebody else, or Chris. Somebody said it. Seth. But you can't say what a person wouldn't do. Because if you're running for your life, you would run out the door, crawl out a window. Yes, you would. You can't say what door a person would go in and out of, Christopher. If I'm fighting you and I'm near the back door, hell yeah, I'm going to run out of that damn door without my shoes on. You fighting me at the front door. I feel scared of you. Hell yeah, I'm going to run out the front door. Without shoes, without coat, without glasses. I'm running for my life. I ain't got time to get no motherfucking video game, get no fucking glasses and socks and all that. I don't give a fuck. See, you can't say, because we don't know what was going on in that house. We don't know if he was getting whooped every day, whooped every other day. We don't know if he was getting harsh punishments, if he was getting timeouts, standing in the corner, standing outside. We don't know nothing. And the reason why I keep telling you this is to think outside the box, because there are too many cases that show you children are murdered by their parents. Not the boogeyman, not the Illuminati, not the ghosts, not CPS, their own damn parents. Every day the YouTube Q shows you a story of a missing child, dead child, beat up child, tortured child. His mama did it. His daddy did it. So why would I think different of this group here? I'm not. Because now they're mudslinging, and that shows me there was trauma and disrespect and turmoil in their house. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire. So we have a missing whole kid. So there was some bullshit going down in his house with these people. So something happened to the boy. And more than likely, he didn't wander out, but he could have. I'm not here to say what exactly happened, but I feel like it's foul play. And they covered their tracks. But the gist of the story could be Sebastian wandered out, got mad, got upset, threw a tantrum, flung out the door, and they said to hell with it, let him stay out there. Shut the damn door, fuck it. Hell, that's what they've done already. You worried about GoFundMe's and what the fuck Seth doing, but you ain't even looking for your kid.
He didn't take his switch. He didn't take his phone. I mean, just doesn't make sense. And he's not one to wander. He's never eloped before.
Are you leaning towards a potential kidnapping?
Anything is speculation at this point in time, because there is no, as they have said, evidence that leads towards foul play. But there's things that just don't add up. His mother was the last one to see him. She's responsible for this, either through negligence at the bare minimum.
Negligence. The bare minimum, says Seth Rogers. Katie Proudfoot, are you going to admit that you were negligent in raising your child? Period. He accuses you of being negligent in California. The boy is now 15. Rarely do people murder teenagers, parents, but it has happened. Is this a case of deliberate homicide, malicide, whatever you call it? What is this we're listening to? Katie Proudfoot, did you murder your son? Did you have an altercation with your son? Things got out of control. It was blow for blow. You dumped the child on your own, or you called your husband to help. And sir, Chris, I like when you talk because you help the queen analyze what she already knows. Yeah, I'm a head knocker today. You slipped up when you talked to Miss Smiley. And you keep putting your foot in your mouth and you won't shut the fuck up. And I love it. We're going to play a little bit of AB's content before I check out of here. You should be very careful what you say, sir. Especially when you weren't there. Ding, ding, ding. When we say we would have heard the doors open because they make a lot of noise. So what do you have, wind chimes on the inside of your house? Or you have wind chimes on the outside of the doors? Help me understand. You weren't there, so where's this we coming from? He's only went out of the house one time, right? That was February 25th or 26th. Come on with it, Queen. They ain't listening. He only went out of the house one time, allegedly. Isn't that right, Mr. Proudfoot? So what is this we shit we would have heard? Because you were there. Ding. Checkmate. Thank you.
Has she been a good mother to Sebastian?
Not in my opinion. This is the third time that her issue. You know, my son's come up missing now under her watch. Time before that.
I need a drink and it's 4:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What did he just say? The third time. I'm going to need a massage therapist here in a second. What did he just say? Third time. Do you all smell bullshit? This is why, Seth, you should have said all this in the beginning. You have been talking in riddles, sir. You should have said all of this shit in the beginning. Because you knew how you felt about Katie and Chris. You've been faking the funk on a nasty dunk. It's what you have been doing. Now, you didn't want to ruffle no feathers. I'm assuming it's why you telling us all of this. Because now we're starting to wonder, what the hell are we listening to? Well, why you didn't tell us this in the beginning? You should have told this in your first interview. I got to clear my chest. I'm not here to protect nobody. I'm here to find my son. I have not gotten along with Katie Proudfoot and her husband. We had problems in California, and we have problems still. I don't like how they've been treating my son. I don't like that he was abused under her watch. I don't like that he's ran away. Woo, woo, woo. I'd have told it all and been done with it. So ain't nobody got to be digging in no dresser drawers. Now, everybody's in dresser drawers, sock drawers, panty drawers, trying to get the 411 of what the fuck's been going on with you all. This is bad. 3 times, he says, now the child that went missing. Or disappeared, ran off, wandered off. What are we talking about? And then where was he? Or where was he found?
Her and Chris let my son get molested and raped in their apartment. And the time before that, I did a well-care check because she let a known sex offender who, yes, did their 9 years in prison, but she left my son around that person. You don't do that. If you're a parent, you don't do that. You're supposed to protect your kid. You don't put them in where they can get in any type of harm's way.
Seth, you said something very upsetting, very shocking, and I just want to go back just a moment. You said that your wife allowed your son, Sebastian, your ex-wife, I should say, your ex-wife allowed Sebastian to be in a situation where he was molested and raped?
In California, and Chris in her apartment, they let a child who was 5 years older than my son play with my son and didn't bother to check on him there neither. And he lost his innocence because of it.
Seth, I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm so sorry to hear this. No child should be subjected to any kind of abuse whatsoever. Sexual abuse can be especially traumatic for a young child. Is this something that Sebastian has struggled with since then?
Yeah, finally was able to actually start getting him therapy for it last year. The fact is that they weren't doing the correct thing clear in California. And it's just last year finally getting him help because he's a victim. And now I'm finding out not only was, he was a victim of that, he's a victim of not getting the help he needs. And, I've listened to some of their podcasts where they make fun of him, make fun of his dancing. Chris obviously has this thing about corporal discipline with him. And it's just... it's not good.
Seth, I'm so sorry.
I need to find my son.
Right.
And he's going to need extensive therapy now to put him back on the right track.
Yes. Was Sebastian the one who told you about the sexual abuse that had happened?
His mother did, and my son did. This happened in California, so Sheriff's Department, CPS was involved. Sheriff's Department was involved there. They wouldn't give me the kid's name, his last name. But at least the only thing I was able to do there was put the detective over that case in contact with the school psychologist so that at least they can protect the other children from this child.
Right. So no juvenile proceedings commenced or anything like that, Seth?
Wait a minute.
With this child?
We'll go back.
He wasn't going to jail.
They can protect the other children from this child. Extensive therapy now to put him back on the right track.
Yes. Was Sebastian the one who told you about the sexual abuse that had happened?
His mother did, and my son did. This happened in California, so Sheriff's Department, CPS was involved. Sheriff's Department was involved there. They wouldn't give me the kid's name, his last name. But at least the only thing I was able to do there was put the detective over that case in contact with the school psychologist so that at least they can protect the other.
Why would you not tell him who the child is? That's my right to know. The child has offended my child. I understand you all are supposed to hide the identity of children when it comes to crimes, even if they are the offender. But that's still my child. I have a right to know who the hell it is. How are you going to come to me and talk to me about a story and I can't even get the full name? That doesn't even make sense to me. Because if that's the case, you could make up a name. His name could be John Black. And you tell me his name is, Peter Rabbit. So hell are we talking about here? I have every right to know who offended my child. Give a damn about no state laws, about no damn names. That's for the public. I'm not the public. I'm the parent. I'm not a reporter. I'm the parent of the child who's offended. So I want to know their fucking government name. I got a feeling this child belonged to somebody that Katie and Chris knew. Because ain't no just random kid you let come in your house and be with your children unless you just never cared about who came around your child. So was this a neighborhood child? You knew his parents from work, the military base. Is his parents in the military or in the military at the time? Because I can't just see just some random kid. You just open the door and they say, "Hi, I'm here to see Sebastian." Oh, okay, come on in. Unless this was just some dodo bird ass parents and they didn't give a fuck. So then I got to wonder what was really going on in the house with Katie and Chris and Katie and any other men. Ding, ding, ding. You all better pay attention.
The children from this child.
Right. So no juvenile proceedings commenced or anything like that, Seth, with this child. He wasn't going to juvenile court.
No, in California, kids 13, they're like, he's too young to prosecute. And they wouldn't do anything about the parents either.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Seth, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My heart breaks for you for so many reasons, and this is just one more of those reasons. Tell me, please, Seth, what else do you want the public to know as people all over are hoping and praying for your son Sebastian's safe return?
That I'm just looking for him. I need people to help. I'm just one person. I can do a lot, but I can't do everything. I have to find him.
Absolutely. You have to find him. And we will continue doing everything we can here at Court TV to help you find him, putting his picture out there, video, talking about him, and hopefully he is somewhere where he can be brought home safe to you soon. Seth Rogers, thank you so much for this talk. Thank you for sharing all of those things. I know it's not easy. Every good wish as you hopefully bring Sebastian home safe soon.
Thank you.
All right, that's Court TV. So I'm going to say it because it needs to be said. I don't know what to believe about nothing anymore. I don't think anybody would make up allegations about messing with a child, if they went and got the boy help, this, that, and the other. But I still find it weird that nobody would tell him the name of the child, the whole government name of the child. That's strange to me. Katie's arguing about it on Facebook about the age of the child, which shows me some complicity to guilt and neglect. As I said, excuse my discrepancy in reading that post. I just blanked out when I first read it during the live last night saying Sebastian. I'm thinking Sebastian when she said not that child. She was speaking of the perpetrator. But nonetheless, Katie, why are you arguing about the age of a child sexual assaulter? Who cares? 13, 11, 10, 7. The fuck is wrong with you? You are a dizzy broad. Oh my goodness. All these cases are the same. This just goes to show you everybody is not meant to be a parent. And there's nothing wrong with you deciding you don't want children or you got children and you just couldn't raise them, whatever. PTSD, mental defect, incapable, alcoholic, drunk, addict, what the fuck ever. But you all just don't need no motherfucking kids. This is why I keep telling people, don't judge somebody that didn't raise their kid. Look at all these people that's got missing children, dead children, and they did it. And they did it. So you're going to say, what? Well, they kept their child. Yeah, but they beat them. They kept their child, but they tortured them. They kept their child, but they let somebody sexually assault them. So how's that even? You kept your child. I kept my kid. Oh, yeah, but you were abusive to your kid. You know how many times I hear that bullshit? I kept my baby. I kept my kids. I did the best that I could. You didn't do your very best. I put up a lot of questions after the live stream last night. I was up for about 30 minutes putting up polls pertaining to my news stories I brought you last night, and we're going to chop them up because I did not want this live to go long. Lord have mercy. I wanted to give myself a break because I cannot keep doing these long-winded lives. They're wearing me down. But this is sickening because now we have a case of a 15-year-old missing, and his personal business is playing out on social media by the parents. We have different versions given by the Proudfoots to public entities on YouTube. And that should tell you everything you need to know. This is why I keep telling people who follow my network, I don't have to watch everybody's content on YouTube. I don't have 2 eyes and 2 ears. So I can't sit up and listen at fucking long-winded ass broadcasts about a bunch of lies. You know, stop bone carrying. I tell people, shit pisses me off. Did you hear? Did you hear? Did you hear? I got a life. And it ain't getting ready to revolve around YouTube and listening at long-winded ass stories about nothing. Why am I going to sit up here and watch a 4-hour live when I've already seen bits and pieces of a story that don't add up? You can't tell me at this point, when you watch YouTube videos where people run to different YouTubers, that it's not for clicks and views. Don't you get it? This is a hustle. You can accept it or you don't. It's a hustle. YouTube is the greatest hustle besides standing out on the street corner selling crack cocaine. I said it. I said it. This is a motherfucking hustle. Just sit up all day making videos and letting people just come up there and lie, and get likes and views. You don't gotta like it. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. I told somebody I was gonna quit cussing. Not today. What can you tell me that I didn't just ask you 2 or 3 days ago or 1 week ago? Is there somebody not following? What can you tell me that I did not ask you a week ago about what the fuck happened February 25th, 26th? How many times can we keep talking about the same damn thing over and over and over? And then here come the chat. Well, that's not what he said over there at Nancy Grace. That's not what he said at Smiley's house. That's not what he said over there at this other chick's house. That's not what he said to Bubba. And you people stress yourself out about what the fuck the Proudfoot said. What the whale said. I have been noticing this shit since I've been on YouTube. Just working your brain about what the fuck a pathological liar said. And you ain't figured out they lying. And you just keep running. And the YouTube streets repeat what the fuck a bitch said, and you know they lied, and you steady acting like you confused. I'm not confused. I tell them, I sleep mighty fine. Because I know a lie when I see one. When you deal with a pathological liar, you know the signs. And one of the signs is being evasive, talking in circles, dancing and glazing over the subject matter, not answering direct questions, not giving a direct answer. It's like pulling teeth, pulling wisdom teeth. You just steady pulling. Shouldn't have to do all that. I ask you a question, just answer. Or say, I don't have an answer. Or I decline to answer. That's all you've been getting with the Proudfoots. And all this bullshit Katie talking about, she don't want to go back and forth with Seth. Well, that's what your husband just did when he decided to go to this lady's playhouse on YouTube to now talk about the house and this and that and the inside the house and doors and jingle jangles. I don't give a fuck about none of that because I already know How many times can you keep spinning the same story about February 25th, 26th? I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say it in every true crime story that I covered. You're going to talk to Gayle King, Oprah Winfrey, Howard Stern, CNN, ABC, NBC, CBS, Nancy Grace, YouTuber, and still have 50, 60 different versions of February 25th, 26th. What is it y'all understand about that? Let's go over to my community page. And let's see how you all answer the questions pertaining to Riley Strain, Puff Diddy and his sons, and Sebastian Rogers and his fucking parents, man. This shit is outrageous. Thank you all for following this network. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGanji 129 Cash App stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for any super chat stickers. Thank you, Mr. AB, for following and sharing my content to your network. We will hear a little bit of AB in just a second. Prayers for the women missing out of Kansas. Foul play is suspected. So far, no answers to the disappearance of the Kansas mothers. Do you believe Seth Rogers was banned from a military base? Yes, 18%. No, 48%. 34% not sure. Will there be charges in Sebastian Rogers' case? 60% yes, 9% no, 13% not sure. Maybe a while, months or more, 18%. Should parents spank children? 43% yes, 44% no, 12% not sure. There are responses, but I don't want to go into them right now because it'll throw me out of my post. Should a parent spank an autistic child? 12% said yes, 77% no, 11% not sure. Will Diddy be indicted? 78% yes, 10% no, 12% not sure. With new allegation against Christian Combs, will he and Diddy both be indicted? This is Mr. Combs and his son Christian. Christian has a new allegation of sexual assault on the father's yacht a few years ago. 61% says yes, both. No, both, 9%. Christian only, 5%. Not sure, 25%. 61% of you believe both will be indicted. Did the feds find incriminating evidence in Diddy's homes? 92% yes, 3% no, 5% not sure. Should the judge remove Diddy's twin girls from him and remove visitation from also his toddler girl? 69% yes, 6% no. Supervised visitation only to all minors, 19%, 6% not sure. If Diddy's friends are subpoenaed by court, will they tell the truth? 16% yes, 29% no. Some will, 47% not sure, 8%. Will there be more lawsuits against Diddy and his sons? 83% yes, 6% no, 11% not sure. Did Diddy teach his boys to be assaulters? 74% yes, 3% no. They saw him do it, 18%. Not sure, 5%. He forced or coerced his sons to be assaulters, 0%. Sean Combs' son Christian has been accused of SA by a former female steward that worked on Diddy's yacht. Do you believe the allegation? 79% yes, 4% no, 18% not sure. Did Riley Strain's friends deliberately mislead him to the river? 18% yes, 33% no, 49% not sure. Will the Proudfoots marriage last? 2% said yes. 91% no, 7% not sure, 46 votes. Has Chris Proudfoot called Nina Gomez to go off on her about the YouTube interview? 61% yes, 16% no, 24% not sure, 38 votes. And then two, he could have possibly texted, so I didn't put that in there. Do you think Chris Proudfoot will attempt to get custody of his daughter? 68% yes, 28% no, 5% not sure. Do you think Chris Proudfoot will attempt to see his daughter? 68% yes, once again, 21% no, 11% not sure. Should a judge grant Nina Gomez, this is the ex-wife of Christopher Proudfoot, full custody of Faith and no visitation to Chris? 70% of you said yes, 8% of you said no. Just custody, 5%. Eliminate all and sever his rights to the child, 13%. Not sure of neither, 5%. If Sebastian is found alive, where should he be placed? Mom, 2%. Dad, 73%. Another family member, 4%. Foster care, 4%. Neither parent, 16%. Did Sebastian SA another child? Now, this is an allegation from Christopher Proudfoot. Allegedly told this to Seth's mother that he is a pedophile. Did not hear who the other child was, or if Chris was just throwing mud because he found out that the child had been assaulted and he was just being mean-spirited. So once again, has this boy child assaulted another child? 4% yes, 56% no, 40% of you said you're not sure. Is Sebastian alive? 8% yes, 49% no, 43% not sure. Did Katie neglect Sebastian in California or the present when he was in her custody? 93% says yes. No, 0%. In the past, 2%. Now, 0%. Not sure, 5%. 41 votes. Did Chris physically and mentally abuse Sebastian? 88% yes, 2% in the past, and 10% now. Did Katie physically, mentally abuse Sebastian? 90% said yes. No, 0. In the past, 0. Now, 3%. Not sure, 8%. Did Seth physically, mentally abuse Sebastian? 3% yes, 70% no. In the past, 8%. Now, 3%. Not sure, 18%. Take the polls, everybody. Go to my community page to take the polls. What is the truth to these allegations? Mudslinging. Do you think Seth should have a GoFundMe? I don't have a problem with the GoFundMe, but I think everything should be in his name. He also mentioned that 50% of GoFundMe goes to the GoFundMe organization and to the proprietor. He now has admitted that he's not working. How long will he be off from work? Naturally, he has to pay bills. He has to eat. He has to take care of himself. I won't doubt he will run himself ragged. He needs to get proper rest, sleep, proper diet, water, stay hydrated, because naturally this will take a toll on a person. He is the only one that's on the forefront looking for the child. You do not see this from the Proudfoots. So it is disrespectful for the Proudfoots to be even on these shows talking about what Seth is doing, not doing, GoFundMe, Cash Apps. Who cares? Because you're not looking for the child. You're not looking for the child. So what do you care about what Seth is doing? Common sense will tell you he has to be able to pay bills. He has to eat. He has to pay a mortgage if he doesn't own his home. He has to pay a car note, car insurance. And no, it's not our responsibility to take care of him. But if you want to be kind enough to donate something to him, I don't see the harm in anybody donating him. And my best advice to him is what I said in the last live stream. I advise you get your own PayPal, Cash App for yourself in your name. I do not advise you putting it in nobody else's name. I do not advise you allowing anybody to set up any GoFundMes or bank accounts for Sebastian. You need to do all that yourself. If you want a reward fund, either go to Crime Stoppers or go to the bank and tell the people they can go to the bank and put in any money for a search or money to, buy flyers, because those things do cost print and paper, pictures, so on and so forth. As for the situation with the woman making the shirts, this, that, and the other, eventually she'll need compensation. So how's that going to work? I'm just dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's. Because eventually he's going to get himself caught up in some bullshit and some fraud, and maybe not deliberately. But because you're going to have greedy people out here trying to find a way to make money, there'll be some bullshit, because it always is with true crime. There'll be somebody out here that will be selling stuff with Sebastian's name on it, and the proceeds won't be going to Seth or the Proudfoots. Okay? So he needs to keep his eyes open. He needs to keep his ears open, because this is how people perfect fraud. So he needs to be aware. And I'm starting to wonder if he is really aware of what is going on because he's weary. And this is how people take advantage of you. They see that you're weary. They see that you are beaten down. And that's how fraud comes to the surface. So he needs to be aware of his faculties. He needs to know anything pertaining to his son involving money. He needs to go to the source and inspect it himself. If he didn't okay it, then he let them know, you have to take that down, remove it from social media, whatever, Facebook, YouTube. I didn't authorize it. If not, I will have a lawyer contact you. Trust me, they'll back the fuck down. But he needs to be aware that people will exact fraud. If he has any questions to law officials, TBI, ask. He should have asked all these questions to the Proudfoots in the beginning about anything. But now I don't think he can even hold a conversation with them now, since everybody's up here on YouTube and court TV. The shit is hot butter. It's out of control now. And I don't see he and the Proudfoots having a happy medium at this point because the shit throwing has commenced. This is why I said you should have talked to them directly when you first went to the house. You should have inspected the home, inspected the child's room, talked to all teachers, faculty, doctors, the neighborhood, the neighbors, gave your phone number out. You should have exacted all of this first week in Hendersonville. You should have never left a stone unturned. And naturally, you can still go back to these people and talk to them. Have you seen anything? Heard anything? Did you know my son? Did you talk to my son? When you saw my son, how did he look to you? See, that should have been done day one. I don't really know if Seth is really aware of this situation. And I'm not trying to be mean, but there's just times when he says things and people ask him questions, he doesn't have an answer. And it's stuff that he should have answers to. Just like he's saying, there's a lot of stuff he don't know that the police did or didn't do. You should have known all this already. You should know if they use luminol. You should know if they found anything sold in the house. Ask. All they can do is say, I can't tell you. We can't share that with you, sir. Did you ever ask Katie when the last time your son could have had an accident, such as bedwetting? Was your child known to bedwet, Mr. Seth? So you have to ask all those questions. Because children use the bathroom on themselves when they're in a traumatic situation or when they fear for the safety. There's a known reason that children bedwet. Even older children. So was the child a bedwetter? Were there any sold garments, clothes, bedding February 25th, 26th, or beforehand? Why do you think I said he should have checked the house? Beds, lifted the mattress, went in the closets, went in the dirty hamper, went into the laundry room, looked in the washing machine dryers. You'd be surprised what people will put away in the dryer, in the washing machine. Stay woke, everybody. See, I am a critical thinker because that's where my mind would have been soon as I got there, and I knew I've had problems with these people with my son. Allegations of abuse, physical abuse, child molestation. I'm all over your house. You can come with me because it's your house. But we going through your house. Now, I may not go in your bedroom, but I'm going to that fucking laundry room. I'm going to his bathroom. I'm going to his bedroom. I'm going in here. Let me look around. Just let me look. And I would have told her, why she talking to the police when he got there? Excuse me, you mind? I'm going to just walk around for a minute. Let me check things out. And that's another thing. When you got there, Seth, and the police were there, in the house, outside, whatever, was Christopher Proudfoot there? Because you got there in about 40 minutes, you said. Memphis is 3 hours or so away or something, I thought. So, was Christopher there? Because that's going to be very important to know. Yeah. Let's see what Mr. AB has to say. Thank you for joining me. Everything's in the details. Stay woke.
pizza because we found another blatant Chris and Katie Proudfoot lie. And it came as I was sitting over at the channel called Clutched in Pearls, watching the video live stream called Crispy and Nancy G. Chris says Nancy lied. Katie says she would have had heard the door, but listen, wasn't Chris and Katie Proudfoot up on Nancy Grace's completely denying having any security system or cameras installed, therefore not being able to understand where what happened that particular night? But yet on Smiley Stories World live stream released a couple weeks ago, where I believe it's titled hashtag Sebastian Rogers, or at the request of Chris Proudfoot, hashtag Chris Proudfoot. At timestamp 1 hour 26 minutes is where the conversation begins in that interview out of the 3 hour 7 minute 35-second live stream.
Pink Eyes, what are you talking about? What protest? Protest for what? What are you talking about? What protests are you speaking of? A protest for what? Why would there be a protest? Are you talking about this subject or are you talking about something else? Hello, I'm talking to you all in the chat. What are you talking about? Protest about what? Protest what? What is the church in Hendersonville? A guy showed up with a gun. Danielle K set up a vigil. Oh, a protest against Chris Proudfoot. See, starting trouble. See, starting trouble. Why have a protest against Chris Proudfoot? Because you should know that's going to have other people come that's going to stir up trouble. See, people don't think. You don't have to like Christopher Proudfoot. But you having a protest against Christopher, Katie, you know he has friends there. He has family there. It's like any of us. You think there's going to people be in the town, you're going to put a protest up against somebody? A protest for what? Protest what? He's not even there. He has a house there. He's in Memphis, Mississippi, Arkansas, whatever. Protest what? See, you're inciting bullshit. That's inciting bullshit. This is why I hate true crime, because people don't respect boundaries. A lot of people do not respect boundaries. And it's not just the people in the story, it's outside people watching. You're going to go protest Christopher Proudfoot. Okay, protest what? That he's breathing? That he owns a house in Hendersonville? What? What are you protesting? Stupid. It's idiotic.
7 minute 35-second live stream. And everybody has a point. Absolutely, Justin found one.
It's ridiculous.
More importantly, Chris and Katie are absolutely
repenting,
because here they are up on Smiley
Stories
World for 3-4 minutes, laughing, carrying on, trying to turn down any questions from the audience because they're admitting to watching Sebastian steal cookies. They're admitting to watching him inside that house on their own internal camera system, security system. So I ask you, Chris and Katie Proudfoot, where is the footage from that night of Sebastian?
What? What the hell is AB saying?
Where is the footage of that night from Sebastian?
I'm sorry.
Timestamp 1 hour 26 minutes is where the conversation begins in that interview out of the 3 hour 7 minute 35-second live stream. And everybody has a point. Absolutely, Justin found one. More importantly, Chris and Katie are absolutely lying because here they are up on Smiley Stories World for 3-4 minutes, laughing, carrying on, trying to turn down any questions from the audience because they're admitting to watching Sebastian steal cookies. They're admitting to watching him inside that house on their own internal camera system, security system. So I ask you, Chris and Katie Proudfoot, where is the footage from that night
of Sebastian?
Good
Where is
question.
the footage of that night from Sebastian? It has to
May,
exist.
that you went to bed around midnight. Is that correct?
It is.
And to you, Mr. Proudfoot, Chris Proudfoot, did you also go to bed at midnight, or before or after?
No, we went to bed around the same time. So we were on the phone together.
And
Boy, for being in two different spots, you sure can speak for both of you.
Exactly. Say it, AB.
Bizarre to be talking for somebody else who you know you can't verify.
Yes. Yes.
You're going to verify anyway because that's what you do.
Yes.
please excuse any of my questions. I'm simply trying to find out more about that night. Do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
I don't know for how much longer.
He wasn't actually in the home at all that weekend.
You were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so where were you, Mr. Proudfoot?
Driving between Memphis and my house.
I was in Memphis, Tennessee.
How far away is
It's a
that?
lie, probably.
3 hours and 37 minutes from doorstep to doorstep.
Exactly.
Wow, that's pretty concise. 37 minutes.
So 9-something o'clock.
Interesting.
And what were you doing in Memphis?
We're disposing of a body.
Where do you work?
I'm currently working, or was working, at the St. Jude Children's Hospital construction project.
Yes, I'm very familiar.
So let's go here. I'm never going to get off this live. I see this now. If you all have cameras in your house, Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot, then you are saying to the general public, almost 6 weeks in, that you saw your child walk out with a flashlight, keychain, no shoes, glasses, no phone. Is that what you're saying now? On this YouTube channel? So why didn't you say that to the news when they talked to you? And then that means you also lied to Nancy Grace that you don't have surveillance cameras outside. Oh, but you would say, oh, but you didn't ask us inside, Nancy. Oh, my, the webs we weave. Why do you all keep talking and telling this bullshit to these YouTubers, but you can't tell the version to the fucking news? So do you have a surveillance system at your house, inside and outside, Mr. and Mrs. Proudfoot, funky feet, lion feet? Why do you keep spinning different versions to YouTubers? What is the obsession with YouTube channels? I just got to get up there. I just got to get up there and tell my side. I just got to get up there and give another version. Jesus, I'm such a dumbass. I'm a devil bird. Carrie White, calling Carrie White. They're all gonna laugh at you. Hell yeah, I'm laughing. You know how many fucking versions you all done spun? Cameras on, cameras off. Lights on, lights off. It's like a game. And it's sick. Because this baby is probably not alive. Let's keep it real. Like somebody in my chat said. Most people don't know how to deal with autistic children. Exactly. So who wants an autistic kid? And I'm not being disrespectful to autism, but think about it. We ain't gonna sugarcoat no more shit with these fucking people. They don't want him. They didn't want him. So you think some random people want disabled 15-year-old? Rarely.
construction project.
Yes, I'm very familiar with St. Jude's. You said you were working there. Are you no longer working there?
Not the hooker.
Right now, that's up in the air. No, because I don't want to be around any of the dumpsters that I may have tried to get rid of any evidence in.
Right. Say it, AB.
Well, you've been gone ever since Sebastian went missing, so I understand. When you are home, do you two sleep in the same bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this a 3-bedroom home?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is your room as it relates to Sebastian's room?
It's on the opposite end of the house. The master bedroom's on one side, and the other 2 bedrooms are on the other side of the house.
Okay, so your master bedroom is on one side of the house, and Sebastian's room is on the other side of the house. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you have a 3rd bedroom that I believe you keep for your...
The reason we're sitting here watching this again is in a few seconds, Nancy Grace is going to ask them about a Ring doorbell camera or any cameras around their house. And they're going to staunchly deny having any security system or cameras. However, we're then going to go over and switch to Smiley Stories World, where they're up there saying that we watch Sebastian through our cameras all the time in the house. We watch him steal food. We would have seen him on our camera system.
Other daughter, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Is that Faith?
Sorry. Screen's very sensitive. Hold on. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Lord have mercy. Why are you all playing these fucking reindeer games with these people out here? How many times you gonna talk to the smiley lady and give another version and another version? So that means you saw him walk out the house. Katie. That's your new version? Did you tell the police and the TBI that you saw Sebastian Rogers walk out of the house? This is how you know he walked out or he was lured out. You saw him on your surveillance cameras inside your house walk out. That's not what you told the news. You know you just fucked yourself, right? Damn, man. You think people can't be more malicious, more evil. So what are you saying, ma'am? You have a camera or you don't. If you saw your child walk out of the house, get up in the night, at what time did you see this on your camera? And why did you lie to Nancy Grace that you don't have any cameras? When she asked you about security, that's what the fuck she meant. That means inside and outside. But when you are a liar, because we don't really know what's the truth, if a person doesn't ask you a direct question, you ain't getting ready to give up nothing else. So if Nancy said, do you have cameras outside? You're going to say no. Well, what's the purpose of having a camera inside but don't got a camera outside? Okay. Ooh, Jesus have mercy. I missed my place with AB talking. It keeps jumping off.
Sebastian's bedroom
So
on the
it's-
front side of the house.
Okay, so his bedroom is away from Faith's bedroom and away from your master bedroom. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is Sebastian's room on a top floor or a ground level?
We have a ranch style house. It's a 1.5 story, so everything is half or flat, and then you have the bonus room above the garage.
Okay, so his is on ground floor, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That morning, was there any sign of a break-in through a window, a front door, a back door, a sliding glass door, anything at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no sign of forced entry. Was anything taken from the home at all?
Not that we could find anything. We couldn't find anything missing.
I want to circle back to Sebastian's shoes regarding if anything was missing. Do you have a burglar alarm?
No, ma'am.
So let's think about what that question really consists of. It's a generalized question. There are so many different types of burglar alarm systems. That's a generalized term.
Exactly.
Okay? You specifically ask that, to leave it open, to say,
Exactly.
well, I don't know what that means especially, but we have cameras set up.
Exactly.
We have this, that, and the other thing.
Exactly.
Allowing the person being interviewed to give over any information, like to elaborate a little bit, as we like to say.
Exactly, AB.
There ain't no elaboration going on here, just staunch denials.
Exactly.
No, there's no burglar system. No, there's no door cameras around here. Don't be foolish. What are those things? Never heard of them.
Do you have a Ring doorbell cam?
No, ma'am.
See, these are the specific questions they want to avoid. No, we don't technically have that. But you didn't ask about the 25 other cameras that we did have. You see the games that they're playing, the semantics? Listen, in a situation like this, she's using brand names. It's like asking somebody in an interview, did you use a Kleenex? No, I used a tissue. Right? No. You see, you asked Kleenex. That's a specific...
AB, that's my boy.
Technically, I didn't lie. You think the jury's going to fucking go for that bullshit?
Exactly.
This is the type of games that Chris Proudfoot and Katie are playing on Nancy Grace.
Yeah.
Okay. Have the two of you taken a polygraph?
It's just the one that we're going to avoid for the next few weeks.
I have not.
Would you be willing to?
I've offered and volunteered on many occasions to take a polygraph, and I was told directly by law enforcement.
Many occasions, all kinds of occasions. Hey, would you like me to take a polygraph test? Anybody?
Stop the nonsense in the chat.
Anybody want me to
Stop
take
the
a polygraph
nonsense.
test? Let me know now, because you're not going to have that offer
Stop it.
in 3 weeks. See, you guys already asked. I said I would. Now things have changed. Now I'm not going to. It's your fault, everybody, especially you coppers.
Because of my whereabouts, I did not need one.
I understand. Miss Proudfoot.
Fucking hocus pocus. I don't want to hear it.
Damn, Skippy, the old Nancy Grace understands that she almost had to spit her lunch into that cup. I had to whisper something into the camera in the back. Oh, did you guys get that? Is the camera rolling right now? Over. Yes, I understand.
Did you pass your polygraph?
I did.
So you're on nationally syndicated television show. Your kid's missing. You want everybody to remember that you got nothing to do with this. But we just want to spread the awareness. We want to stay on top of that narrative, they call it. So you get up there and get asked if you have any cameras. She was following up as to what happened inside the house, maybe offering you up an opportunity to get whatever it is off your chest out. And the only thing you can muster up is a no and a yes. You're guilty of something, motherfucker. You're innocent of any wrongdoing, and you're just popping out yes and no questions as though it's a Sandy Poop.
Exactly.
Come on. Listen, we just saw you deny having any burglar alarm system which, by the way, is a generalized term. That
Right.
could constitute like a door switch. It could constitute motion detectors,
Exactly.
proximity switches, laser listeners, video cameras. All of that constitutes as a security system. What do you have in place at your home, in other words,
Exactly.
to ensure your security, being the caring parents of a child who's on the spectrum, who has communication and comprehension problems, who is always going to be a risk to get out when your back is turned because they're clever. And you're just forever inviting it by admitting to not having anything installed that could prevent a situation that you find yourself in now.
Exactly. If you're not the culprit.
Well, that's weird. Because I could have sworn you were over Chris and Katie on Smiley Stories World. God bless her. She's back in my good books again. Oh, shit.
In brutal way.
Anyway, I didn't mess up too bad.
Oh, I thought he was going to play something. Sorry about that.
Love you guys. Let me see here. So we're going to go back live at the request of Chris Proudfoot. Great title, Smiley. It's a constant reminder that we're not here because I want to be necessarily.
If you want to check out AB's content, he's in the YouTube queue because I don't want to hold you all. It's a Saturday and I have other content I need to get out. The obvious scenario is that these people have some involvement because you're telling too many versions and the truth never changes. That's the gist of the story. That's the gist of any story. The truth never changes. You don't need to talk to different podcasters. You don't need to talk to different news entities. You don't need to keep repeating different versions. And you're picking and choosing who to go to spin the versions, which means it's deliberate and it's calculated and it's nefarious in nature. You've done something to this kid because you'd have no need to keep talking to all these people. You keep going back talking to the same people. Then you're repeating different things to the same people. Why do you need to do that? I told you once what happened. Why I got to come back and talk to you again? Oh, now I got to come back and rebuttal what Seth said to Pookie, Ray Ray, Smiley, Sugar Mama, Sugarfoot. For what? Oh, you want to come back up here? Oh, hey, I need to talk to you. I got to tell you what my side is. But you're not supposed to be going back and forth. Let Katie tell it. So what the fuck you got to go over here and talk to this lady about? For what? Now you got systems, a security system inside, but you ain't got a security system outside. So you're going to spend all this money for cameras inside to look at what the fuck is going on inside, but you don't care about nobody outside trying to get inside. Damn, Angela, that's good. Upside down. Boy, you turn me inside out and round, round. Round and round, you're turning me. Gonna give it up. That's what this is, a Diana Ross song. Upside down, inside out, inside, outside, on the roof, in the attic, in the garage, at the dump site, at the landfill, at the construction site, 5 miles down, 5 miles down, 5 miles in. That's all over the fucking place. Thank you, Jenny. The truth needs no explanation. You need not keep repeating the same bullshit and new bullshit to the same person, new people. Hey, we've spoken already. We've told people what happened. And the fact that Chris is doing the narrating, this is the Wales all over again. Can't believe Don's quiet. Shut your mouth, as far as I know, because I don't chase after the motherfuckers. But each story is the same. In the holler of East Tennessee, up a little ways from the Queen, a little white girl goes missing, and allegedly she was last seen with her mother and grandmother. And who calls in the 911 call? Her father, who's 30, 40 minutes up the highway. Now, fast forward years later, West Tennessee. A little white boy goes missing, 15 years of age. He's last in the house with his mother, stepfather on the road. And who calls in the 911 call? The step-pawpaw. Little girl goes missing in Florida. Last name DeSoto. Last seen by the mother, the stepdaddy, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. First, she's with the family. She's not with the family. Who calls 911? Some random motherfucker. Who calls back? Some random motherfucker. Who calls back? Some random motherfucker. Are you all following the script? You better stay woke, because I'm woke. Missing kids. All seen with the perpetrator. Yeah, I say perpetrator. But yet, they get somebody else to call 911. Why is this person calling and they're not even in Hendersonville? Why is Donald Wells calling for Summer Wells, but he's at work? Why are some random people calling for that little girl by the last name of DeSoto, but you weren't there at 8 something in the morning? And I ain't never heard of kids going to school at 9 a.m. That's some new shit. Because we don't rock like that up here. Are you all following the script? Because you see, it is a script. Let me give you a reason why it's a script. Hold on one second. Thank you for joining me. Got a lot of news to get out to you. Still got to bring you my Menendez brothers. I want to also show you something about violent children who have assaulted their parents. That's a video I wanted to show you. Want to talk about Mr. Kohlberger? Got a lot to talk about. Lord have mercy. They're bitching about some survey sent out to the public asking, did you hear the Kohlberger case? Now the defense is all up in arms. They want to move the case out of Latau County. Just a lot of bullshit. Hold on. According to our research and experience, out of the 500,000 children that go missing every year in the United States, nearly all of them are found. That's a 97.8%. So 500,000 children go missing, but nearly all of them are also found. That's a 2021 stat. I'm trying to bring something up to date. This is 2024. Because naturally we're in a new year. So, you have to give them time to calculate the stats. And this says update, but it was published in 21. So I don't know how accurate this is. This is going back too far. I need something up to date. Hold on one second, everybody. Every 40 seconds, a child goes missing or is abducted in the United States. Approximately 840,000 children are reported missing each year. 840,000 are reported. Now, imagine those that aren't, okay? And the FBI estimates that 85% and 90% of these are children. Non-family abductions include kidnappings committed by acquaintances and strangers. Acquaintance abductions make up 27% of all child abductions and is committed by a disproportionately high number of juvenile offenders. Acquaintance abductions also have the highest number of female and teenage victims and is often associated with crimes such as sexual and physical assault. Abductions committed by strangers typically occur in outdoor locations. Stranger abduction is most likely to involve a firearm when compared to the other types of abduction and is associated with sexual assault in female victims and robbery in male victims. So I doubt that somebody was robbing a 15-year-old autistic boy from his house and didn't know him. Runaway. Children who run away and become homeless is a serious and pervasive issue. 1 in 7 children between the ages of 10 and 18 will run away from home, and young people between the ages of 12 and 17 are at a greater risk to become homeless than adults. 75% of runaways are female, and between 6 and 22% of homeless girls are pregnant. Between 20 and 40% of young people who run away from home identify as part of the LGBTQ community. Half of all runaways report escaping physical abuse in the home, while 38% escape emotional abuse and 17% acknowledge being subject to sexual abuse by a family or household member. Children who run away from home face greater risk of anxiety, depression, suicide, poor health, and low self-esteem, and are more likely to be forced into prostitution, drug sales, and other illegal activities. Physically and mentally disabled children. You know, I always bring you a receipt. In many cases, a child who is missing, who has been abducted, may have physical or mental disabilities, which can make it more difficult to find and return the child. When a child is developmentally disabled, he or she may have difficulty communicating with others about their needs, identity, or home address. This can place the child in a greater degree of danger. These children are especially susceptible to being abducted and may be harder to return them to their parents when they are lost. Physical disabilities can also make it more difficult for missing children to be discovered and returned and provided necessary medical care and treatment. Law enforcement agencies receive special training in handling cases involving missing or abducted children who have mental or physical disabilities. So, was this child kidnapped? I say no, because the parents would have seen that nobody broke in their house and kidnapped him. Non-family abduction, okay? Include kidnappings committed by acquaintances and strangers. Once again, acquaintance abductions make up 27% of all child abductions and is committed by a disproportionately high number of juvenile offenders. That's what I brought you. Acquaintance abductions also have the highest number of female and teenage victims associated with other crimes such as sexual and physical abuse. Family abduction. Is this a family abduction? Family kidnappings make up half of all reported abductions in the United States. Family abductions is typically committed by parents, and it involves a significantly higher proportion of female perpetrators when compared to other kidnapping offenses. Children under the age of 6 are most frequently targeted for family abductions, and these often occur in the midst of bitter divorce or child custody battles between parents. Family abduction poses unique issues for law enforcement, as the child may be unwilling to leave his or her abductor, and other family members may be involved in concealing and aiding the abducting parent. Just giving you the backdrop pertaining to missing children, who runs away and who's abducted. Now we're going to talk about parents who kill their children. 1 second, everybody. One of the most important things to understand in filicide cases is that so much depends on the population studied. Mothers and fathers who kill their child and are subsequently in prison have different characteristics than those who commit suicide or who are treated in a forensic hospital. When my colleagues and I studied parents who committed filicide and suicide in a joint act, we found that twice as many fathers as mothers had done so. These parents often suffered from depression or psychosis. When we studied the characteristics of mothers who were found not guilty by reason of insanity for killing their child, we found women with high rates of serious mental illness who believed that they were doing what was morally right by killing their child, or who were unable because of their symptoms to control their actions. This group of mothers found insane had, unsurprisingly, high rates of postpartum psychosis. It was not uncommon for these mothers to have planned suicide too. However, data about mothers who were found insane or who committed suicide can't be generalized to all mothers who kill. Filicide cases are often much more complex than initially appear. As part of my work, I gather information from the parent after the homicide about their life, the child's life, the mental health, any substance abuse. Police reports and evidence are even crucial. Interviews, especially around the time of the killing, can be immensely helpful. Obstetric, pediatric, and child protective services records and provide clues. Any mental records from before and immediately after the homicide can provide valuable insights into the parent's state of mind, anger, greed, hatred, revenge. Feelings any of us who has lived in a family might have experienced at some point can be seen in various types of family murder. Okay? In 1969, my mentor, Dr. Philip Resnick, who testified in the Andrea Yates trial, which I accompanied him to, described 5 motives for child murder by parents, both fathers and mothers, after reviewing many cases described in world literature. Today, those descriptions are commonly used by forensic psychiatrists around the globe who evaluate parents after such cases, and our own research in the past 2 decades has helped us further understand these motives. In cases of fatal maltreatment, the most common pattern, the child dies as the end result of abuse or neglect. Often these children have experienced that treatment over a period of time, and one day their body cannot bounce back. Occasionally, however, their death occurs after a one-off instance of abuse or neglect. In these cases, mental illness or substance abuse may be involved, but so may personality disorders or parenting struggles. Alternatively, in instances of unwanted child filicide, the parent's needs or wants win over the child's life. Is that what we have here? An unwanted child, so a parent could fulfill her needs. This is such a commonly described motive in neonaticide cases, in which an infant is killed at birth, often after a hidden pregnancy. But a child can be unwanted at any age. Say it again, Queen. But a child can be unwanted at any age, and for a range of reasons, such as the parent desiring a child-free relationship. Shut your mouth. So when we say swapping a lamb for a lamb, Sebastian for Faith, that wouldn't be child-free now, would it? Because now you're still bringing in another child. Stay woke. Here, the parent usually is not thinking of the child as their own person, but rather as someone whose fate the parent has ultimate control over. In cases of partner revenge, a parent kills their child to get back at a partner or an ex and emotionally wound them. This may happen in a custody battle. For example, the mythological Medea killed her children in partner revenge. In contrast to these first 3 motives, the much smaller population of those found not guilty by reason of insanity and those who commit filicide, suicide tend to have altruistic or acutely psychotic motives. In an altruistic filicide, a parent kills their child out of love Our research further described that the mother or father may be psychotic and out of touch with reality or depressed at the time. If the parent is psychotic, they may be experiencing delusions that a fate worse than death is about to befall the child, and thus they believe they are sparing the child from that outcome by killing them gently. A parent who is severely depressed may plan their own suicide and not want to leave the child alone in this cruel world. We also see altruistic motives and other types of family murder, such as the older adult killing a partner who is medically unwell or suffering from dementia. In the acutely psychotic cases, a parent kills with no rational reason. For example, they may hear the command of God in the context of psychosis, calling Lori Valodabel Ruby Frankie. When the public reads the news and hears arguments from prosecutors and defense attorneys, it might seem simple to figure out the mental health issues that a defendant has or doesn't have, and their motive. However, this is almost always far from the truth. Meanwhile, ethical psychiatrists bound by the so-called Goldwater Rule should not share their hunches with the media about a defendant whom they have not evaluated. It's easy to get swept up in the media circuses that surround these deaths. But without proper evaluations, complicated cases can be easily misunderstood, and mental illness and homicidality can become conflated, which is dangerous and unfair to the people dealing with mental health conditions and challenges. Is that what we have here? We have some mentally ill people who have possibly murdered a child, and we don't understand them. We don't understand their psychosis. So, Katie, do you have a psychosis, you and Christopher or Mr. Seth? Do you all have something mentally defunct, defective in you, and we don't know about it? Will we find out that some of these people have some type of chronically mental illness, and it has not been revealed to the general public? Media buzz about postpartum mental illness can shine a light on these issues, which may help to inform or even educate the public about this important and often invisible topic. Did Katie have postpartum syndrome with her child? I'm curious. Was she emotionally detached from her boy child? Did she become emotionally detached while he was in the womb, after she had him? What was her relationship like while nurturing the child? Once she realized the child had some developmental issues, it's this when she became detached from the child. So many questions, but no damn answers. Once again, media buzz about postpartum mental illness can shine a light on these issues, which may help to inform or even educate the public about this important and often invisible topic. But it's crucial to remember that mental illness may or may not be relevant to an individual case. Exactly. Health systems and human services need to screen for mental health, substance abuse, and parenting difficulties. And from a public health perspective, the needed care should be funded appropriately. As these cases continue to occur, we should keep in mind that there are various complex reasons why parents kill their children, and we should not make assumptions or correlations where they do not and should not exist. Most people with mental illness would never harm their child, and a great many parents who kill are not suffering from a mental illness. Dr. Susan Hatters Friedman is a reproductive psychiatrist and the Philip Resnick Professor of Forensic Psychiatry at Ohio's Case Western Reserve University. She edited the Gumacher Award-winning book, Family Murder, Pathologies of Love and Hate, and she has authored dozens of scientific articles on filicide and maternal mental health. HuffPost is the source of this information. So is this a case of mental defect or non-mental defect that the child was unalive by one of these parental figures? You're entitled to your opinion. One more. Hold on. I'm trying to get this FBI stat. Because they give you different ones. Sometimes there's a combination of murder and suicide and filicide cases. On average, according to the FBI statistics, 450 children are murdered by their parents each year in the United States. 450. Filicide is a deliberate act of a parent killing their child, their own child. The word can refer to both the crime and the perpetrator of the crime. Higher stats of a woman killing a child during infancy in 1999. Between 76 and 1997 in the United States, more women were responsible for murdering their children. While fathers are more likely to have been responsible for the murders of children age 8 or older, parents were responsible for 61% of child murders under the age of 5. Once again, sometimes there's a combination of murder and suicide in filicide cases, but we have living parents in this situation here. I'm going to stop here because I'm at 2 hours. As you heard this woman speak in this commentary by the HuffPost, we as people should not judge a situation, the people in the storyline, to say what they did and didn't do. If indeed we find out that one of these people murdered the child, that we shouldn't judge them. We shouldn't assume why they did it. If they have a mental illness, sometimes mental illness has nothing to do with the murdering of a child. As you heard in this HuffPost, you entitled to your opinion of what you believe happened. But what I feel pertaining to this debacle is the obvious. This case is out of control. It is now mudslinging at best, and it is in the arena of social media and now mainstream news, because now Court TV has given you a rendering pertaining to Seth Rogers of his child being in the care of this Katie Proudfoot and Christopher Proudfoot and being sexually abused by a child and an adult. And we have not heard that the adult face any criminal charges. This is bad. This is very bad. Now imagine this person is still walking around offending children. If these allegations are true, this woman doesn't watch her child, this woman doesn't care who she brings around her children, then that means Katie Proudfoot had no business with the child. And if I'm to believe these allegations by Seth Rogers, we now have a whole child missing. But this is what's expected, because strife, assault, neglect comes in these cases when there is a missing child or dead child. Have you not noticed? Why would you kill a child in the first place? Stay woke. Especially if it's parent-owned child. And this is what you hear in these cases pertaining to missing children, deceased children. There was always abuse. There was always abuse, and the abuse was seen. I watched a documentary last night on Tubi, and I'm going to share it on my community page when I get done with this live. I can't remember the guy's first name, but his last name is Green. It happened in Texas. When you hear this horrific story pertaining to this African-American man who lashed out at this woman he was married to, only been married a month, took her life and attempted to kill her 2 boys and murdered her baby girl, or he murdered the girl child. It goes to show you, you don't know people. But the gist of the story is that this man showed violence beforehand in his life. So God forbid anybody who got in his path, you were going to get the brunt of his violence when he decided to pop off. And boy, he popped all the way off. Anybody that would kill a mother and try to kill her children and kill one of her children, he showed you what he's made of. I fell asleep on the documentary, but what I saw was a man who was making excuses even behind prison walls, sitting on death row, trying to explain what happened that fateful day. Oh, it wasn't no fighting, at first. Just talking. You see, every killer isn't the same, but they are eerily similar. Always excuses. Are you paying attention? Always excuses. That's what you're hearing here. In this case pertaining to Sebastian Rogers. You're hearing excuses. You're hearing different versions on different platforms pertaining to the lifestyle of raising a boy child. You're hearing nothing about the child specifically by the Proudfoots. They're not searching for the child. They have left their home to go do God knows what. And now it's mudslinging between the people. And all you're getting are excuses. And that is the one thing you usually see in people who have been abusing and neglecting a child or an adult. It's not taking responsibility for their role in dealing with the other person, the victim. And I do believe they harmed him. Because all this that you're hearing now play out on YouTube could have been avoided. Interview number 1. Hi, I was out of town. Yes, I put the child here. He went to bed. We do have surveillance cameras inside of the house, so I can see who's coming in, who's going out. We have cameras in the living room, family room, kitchen, his room, hallway. Are you following? And these cameras will be able to show that the child exited out of his room, went down the hallway, went out this door or this door at this time. It would have shown what he was wearing, blah, blah, blah. And that'd be the end of the story. But that's not the version we got day one. These people have talked to various people, and each interview is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then you have to ask yourself, why are you talking to all these different people? Why are you spinning different versions to different people? Because there is some bullshit going on. And it's called nefarious business. Because the truth needs no explanation. The truth never needs to be repeated more than one time. And you only tell it one time, and you tell it the same way one time. That's facts. So whether they have mental illnesses, postpartum, bipolar, dissociative personalities, sociopath, psychopath, the truth only needs explaining one time. And it doesn't need repeating different ways. Because the truth never deviates. And it never needs an explanation. These people are fabricating fables for their own self-preservation, which leads me to believe they are involved in the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist. But the one thing I know is when I'm listening and seeing a motherfucking liar, and I don't need a degree for that. I want to thank you for joining me. I will be back with more stimulating content because I have more information to bring you about Mr. Brian Kohlberger and some other nonsense, and I want to get right into that. Please follow my content on P. Diddy and his sons. Riley Strain, that's the next live stream. Oh, I'm getting ready to blow you out of the water with what I'm getting ready to bring to you. In this next live stream, I want you to take a little ride with Queen back to Nashville. And we're going to chop up what really happened that night at Luke 32 Bridge. And then we're going to go out west and fumble around with this nonsense with the Idaho 4, okay? Thank you so much. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the stream. All stickers, super chats, thank you so much. Proudfoots, do yourself a favor. Stop talking. Because now you've put your foot in your mouth so many times, and now the police will be looking at you, TBI, CIA, because what they're going to say to themselves, we already knew there was some bullshit going on, and now they have confirmed what we already suspected, if they did suspect you, because now you've given different versions. Now everybody has to wonder what they told the police. Checkmate. You see, what I tell the police and TBI ain't what I'm going to tell a YouTuber and what I'm going to tell the news. Ding, ding, ding. And rather Seth told all this bullshit in the beginning to police, we will never know. But the one thing I have learned about a crook, He or she decides when they want to tell the truth and who they want to tell the truth to. And so long as there is the police and Department of Human Services, you are never going to get the truth. Because they don't want you to know all their dirty secrets. They don't want you to know how many times DHS has been knocking at their door, sending notices. And they know the DHS will never tell. So I can tell you any version I want. Because I know it will never be verified. You all better pay attention. You're dealing with some sinister shit out of West Tennessee. Anybody trying to get involved down there, you need to tread very carefully. And you better watch your back. Because I don't trust these people down there. And I don't trust anybody getting in cahoots with the Proudfoots. I believe they have some bones of their own in the closet. And I believe they're willing to do anything to keep them bones in the closet, if you get my drift. And the one thing I have to remember about he said, she said, allegations, is if you believe what you have been hearing so far on YouTube, imagine what you don't know. That's the show, everybody. Thank you for joining me. You've been listening to The Vault XL. Stay tuned for live number 2.